All right, hello everybody. We're going to be testing out the microphone tonight because I finally have it. You know, it's funny, when I flew to New York, I forgot the microphone inside my Vespa. But since I landed back here in Miami, obviously I have it again, so I guess we'll try it out. I want to welcome everybody to downtown Miami. Today is July 21st, 2023. Now, we do have a lot of new people here, so this is definitely a change of scenery. There was not supposed to be a live stream tonight, as we talked about yesterday in Brooklyn, but, you know, to my surprise, and I'm really impressed, by the way, my flight took an American Airlines flight out of JFK, landed in Miami, it took off on time, and we got here early. The flight was about 2 hours and 20 minutes. Really easy flight. Super quick, super easy. So that's why we're streaming tonight. We actually got back really early, which I was very impressed about. I actually thought the flight was going to be delayed and or canceled, so much exceeded my expectations. It's going to be a quick stream tonight, maybe go on about an hour. I just wanted to show all of the new viewers around downtown Miami and Brickell, and maybe we'll talk about the Olympia Dumbo tour that I had today. So earlier on in the day at about 10 a.m., I was invited to preview one of the most exclusive buildings in Brooklyn. Now, the new development is called Olympia Dumbo. It's about 50% sold out, and it extremely wildly exceeded my expectations. I mean 130 William was fantastic. We talked about it. I showed you guys that building. I posted a lot of those still photographs and videos on YouTube and Instagram and things like that. The building is about 95% sold out as it relates to 130 William. Olympia Dumbo is just across the water. It's literally a stone's throw away from the Brooklyn Bridge, and the property is unbelievable. It has a full regulation size outdoor tennis court. It has not only one saltwater pool on the inside, but it also has an outdoor pool. It has private garage, and for the two penthouses at the top, you actually can have the option to purchase with your unit your own private parking garage, right? And then you have your elevator to your penthouse. Really amazing. If you guys want to check out some of the footage from the Olympia Dumbo tour, go ahead and click the links in the description. That should take you to my Twitter page or my IG, where you could find out some more information on it. But unbelievable. You have sweeping views of not only the Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, all the way into Midtown. So from your apartment, you could see all of Midtown Manhattan, Empire State Building, One Vanderbilt, all of Billionaires Row, 432 Park Avenue, Central Park Tower, 157. I could go on and on and on. Extremely impressed. Extremely impressed. So maybe we'll talk about that a little bit tonight. I do want to just quickly do a market recap. Let's take a look at how the markets closed this week. If we go over to the S&P 500, we closed the week at 4536. Now, I think it's important to pay close attention on how we closed today, because if you just looked at this at face value, you know, if you were on your Yahoo Finance app or just looked at, you know, the financials on your iPhone, you would see that the market actually closed in the green today, up about a point, so pretty much flat. But look at the intraday action. We actually gapped up throughout the day, but we closed at the dead low, okay? We closed at the dead low of the day on extremely high volume. So this is exactly what we talked about over the last couple days on the live stream here, essentially saying that the market, as it relates to the major equity indices, are extended historically above the 50-day moving average, above the 200-day and above the 100-day. So as we go into August, which I can't even believe I'm saying that, next week is the last week of July. Crazy. Where is time flying? But historically, August is a little bit of a shaky time for the market. It's the summer doldrums. We're going in to the real last solid month of the summer. We're going into Labor Day, which many people on Wall Street tend to be away. That's sort of the big last hurrah. And then volume tends to pick up on the major exchanges in September, taking us into the end of the year. We'll briefly go over to the NASDAQ 100. We'll take a look at the E-mini futures contract, ticker symbol NQ. We're getting another pullback in the NASDAQ as well. We talked about this, down about 52 points on very high volume, but I think this is needed and I think this is healthy. If we take a look at the Dow 30, the Dow Jones Industrial Average Futures, that ticker symbol is YM, okay, YM. We do have sort of like a doji reversal in the Dow 30 as well, with the VIX, okay? So if you look at the VIX, ticker symbol VIX, that is the CBOE Volatility Index. We've actually been starting to get a little bit of a bid in the VIX, closing green on the day. But another thing we need to watch is the dollar, or the Dixie, ticker symbol DXY, which is essentially the US dollar currency index, which tracks the relative strength of the US dollar against a basket of currencies. Now, the dollar's been getting hammered. The beginning of the week, we traded at 99 for the dollar. We're actually rallying back to major moving averages. If you look at the 50-day moving average on the Dixie, we're sitting at about 102. The dollar rallied today back above 101, putting pressure on equities. Last thing we'll take a little bit of a peek at is crude oil futures, ticker symbol CL. It looks like we're having a little bit of a rally in crude, trading at $77 a barrel. We have now rallied back above the 50-day moving average, and we're consolidating just below the 200-day. Now, if we rally back above, maybe we can have a straight shot to $90 a barrel. Who knows? We'll see. Real quick, lastly, and then we'll kick the stream off. If we go to CNBC.com, CNBC.com/bonds. Sorry about that. Okay, let's take a look at the yield curve, shall we, as we wrap up the week. The one-year U.S. Treasury is trading at 5.35%. Let's take a look at the most notable spread in the yield curve, which is the spread between the 10 and the 2s. Two-year Treasury, 4.846%, and that 10-year U.S. Treasury is sitting at 3.837%. So pretty egregious inversion of the yield curve there. And last but not least, if we take a look at the 30-year fixed rate mortgage, so if we go to 30-year fixed, if we could find it, sitting right below 7%, just a tad below 7%. Okay, let me go ahead and close up my laptop, everybody. I will say hello to everybody in the chat, but I want to give you a warm welcome to Miami, and I want to wish you all a very happy Friday. We made it to the end of the week, so hopefully you all have some amazing weekend plans. Go ahead and put my backpack on and we will get started. Now, it's about 92 degrees here in Miami, Florida, but here's the thing, and this is going to sound crazy, but it's true. It feels cooler than in New York. Now, I don't know why that is, but it honestly feels way cooler than in New York. I think it was just the poor air quality in Manhattan. It was really, really bad over the last month. Very humid as well. Obviously, spending a lot of time in Manhattan. That asphalt, that concrete heats up like crazy. So it's a nice break. I'm telling you guys, it's a nice break to be back in Miami. And let's say hello to everybody in the chat. I see my good friend LB is here. What's up? Battery Grams. Richie is here. Marcus D, thank you so much for joining us. Molly Doran. John Abraham. Welcome, welcome. I see Gigi NYC. Always a pleasure to have you. Daryl, welcome, sir. Otto. We have Richard Scott, Jafet Perez, Steph UH, John, Dan Sang. Looks like we got a full house. Victor, Rafed, David Main. Welcome, everybody. All right, Ed Podcast. Tom, hope you're doing well. Thank you, Ed. So we are actually standing directly outside of the Miami Heat Arena. Now remember, this used to be the FTX arena, okay? But then there was that massive fraud with Sam Bankman-Fried. Company collapsed, almost caused a global financial crisis. We've moved past that. Hopefully there'll be some litigation there. And now we have a new sponsor for the arena. Now, as you look towards Citigroup, and I was about to say 432 Park Avenue, 200 Southeast Financial Center, this is headed towards Brickell. I'll quickly give you guys a brief recap of the skyline here. This very unique looking building with the sort of big base at the bottom. This is 1000 Museum, and this is a Zaha Hadid building, which is one of the most exclusive and luxurious and expensive condominiums in all of downtown Miami. It is an unbelievable building, and there's actually a helicopter pad on the top of the building just in case you want to avoid all that Miami traffic. You just fire up the bird and you can land directly on your apartment. Love these beautiful palm trees we have out here. This, I believe, is the building that has the most amenities in North America. It is the Paramount Tower. It is absolutely gorgeous, and it's sort of creating this essence in Miami, if you will. You have 1000 Museum, which I think David Beckham has a residence in that particular unit, or in that particular building. You have the Paramount Tower over here. Now, I want you guys to make note of something. As we head towards Brickell, you are going to see one of the newest, most exclusive new developments in all of Miami. It is called the Aston Martin building. Now, I haven't seen it in about a month, so I'm really excited how it's going to turn out, how it's going to look. So hopefully the lights will be on. So I guess we'll head that way. Ed Podcast says, can we take a tour of the Paramount Tower? Stay tuned. Stay tuned. You know, as the channel has been growing, which I really appreciate, by the way, I do want to thank everybody that continues to come out each and every night, takes part in the conversation, you know, subscribes to the channel. We've been gaining traction and we've been meeting a lot of cool people. So that allows us to get access to some of these exclusive buildings like 130 William, like Olympia Dumbo, and stay tuned because we should have access to the Paramount Tower and 1000 Museum very soon. And if we're lucky, maybe we'll be able to do a live walking tour of the Aston Martin building as well. Hey, Penelope's here. Good to see you. Brendan O'Brien, what's up? What's up? Robert, good to see you. Steven says, what does Tom do that he travels so often between New York City and Miami? I'm new to the stream. Yeah, so I have an investment property here. I bought a property here a few years back, so I split my time between New York City and Miami, Florida. I love the city. I came here. The first time I came to Miami was about 2014, I think. I was on a business trip. I've never been to Miami before. This is the Freedom Tower, real quick. Not to sort of segue, but we have a lot of new viewers. This is by far my favorite building in all of downtown Miami. Now, it's not this ultra luxurious apartment complex, but it has so much rich history here in Miami and America. This is where the vast majority of the Cuban immigrants came to the United States, right through this building. So it's really symbolic of America, of opportunity, the greatest country in the world, right? Welcoming of immigrants from all over the place to come and build their life here in the United States. So I love the building. It's getting a little bit of a makeover on its facade, but usually the top is lit up. I'm not sure why it's not lit up tonight. Yeah, Gene says it was built in 1925. You're right. My friend Sparks Carnival, what's up? This is Tony Bennett. Was a class act, he was. That was some unfortunate news today, guys. I got a notification on my Wall Street Journal app that Tony Bennett passed away, which is terrible. I mean, he was an amazing singer. you know, along the likes of Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin. I sort of categorize him with those folks. As you guys know, huge fan of the Rat Pack, right? Sammy Davis Jr., all those great legends. So that was some bad news, but, you know, to Ed Potke's point, he was 97 years old, so that's a blessing. I mean, if you can make it past 80, I mean, that is a blessing in and of itself. So 97 years old in his amazing, amazing long life. So I think that's something to be celebrated for sure. This building here is brand new. It's called the Elser. Now, what's interesting about this building is that it's a hotel and it's residences. Now, if you want to buy units in this particular building, it's set up in a way where it's more geared towards a pied-à-terre, if you will. And so a pied-à-terre is not a primary residence. If you're only going to be staying in Miami maybe 1 or 2 months out of the year, I think this is a very attractive building for you, because all of the studios, all of the 1-bedrooms and 2-bedrooms here come fully furnished. And the reason why they do that is because when you're not here and when you're away, it's easy to rent your particular units out to other people, right? I'm trying to see if we could see the pool from here, but we can't. But there's an amazing pool on this roof deck, unbelievable amenities. I think Carol H., who watches the stream all the time, stays there a lot. Just open, so a really beautiful place. Let's quickly cross here. Hey, Sandro, what's up? Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. DWG says, love the Metro. Well, we're about to pass by the Metro Mover any second now. Quickly give you guys a shot of where we walked from. And this is Leo Messi. I think this is what everybody's all excited about. Arguably the greatest soccer player, football player to ever live, has chosen Miami as his home over Saudi Arabia. Even though Saudi Arabia was throwing like $1 billion at the guy, he chose the United States because, you know, I think at some point, after the amount of success that Leo Messi has had, you know, making another $1 million or $2 million or $10 million isn't really going to move the needle, right? I mean, it's not going to be much of a change in lifestyle for him. So I think he made the right choice to come to the greatest country on earth, in arguably top 5 cities in America. At least he'll get to relax. I mean, there was some photos of him being able to walk around Publix, you know, regular grocery store, without being commandeered by thousands of people. You couldn't do that in Barcelona, right, at his former club. So I think this is going to be good for him and his family. I think it's a good move for sure. To your left here, I'm trying to see if it's open, because I think it's still under construction. Maybe we'll go there another night. We'll just head all the way down to Brickell. Wow, Zozo Bob says Messi's wife wanted Miami. Yeah, I mean, it's a great place. And there's a huge Argentine community here. 72nd Street and Collins Avenue is Little Buenos Aires. So I think it's a good place for him and his family. Maybe blends in well. Orlando's here, says hello all. Good to see you. Hey, War Walker says welcome back to the 305. I appreciate that, War Walker. Thank you so much. Days Works is good to see you back in the Magic City. I'm happy to be back too. You know, the flight was fantastic. I thought it was going to be a horror show, right, like it usually is. Over the past couple of years, flying hasn't really been too much of a positive experience. But we actually boarded the plane on time. We took off on time. And we arrived early. The flight was like 2 hours and maybe 20 minutes. Super simple. And that's why we're streaming tonight. We actually got back extremely early. Hey, Gene says, wow, Tom, it seems like you were on the Brooklyn Bridge only last night. Now you're in Miami. You're right, we were on the Brooklyn Bridge last night. And I was on the Brooklyn Bridge today again, but earlier in the day, as we were touring Olympia Dumbo, which is, I don't know, I think if I had to choose, now that I've seen both developments, if you will, I think if I had to choose between Olympia Dumbo and 130 William, I think I may have to choose Olympia Dumbo, even though it's not in Manhattan. But it's so close. I mean, you guys got to see some of the videos and the photos of this place and some of the floor plans and the layouts. It's unreal. I didn't think I was going to like it this much. I thought I was going to like it, but I didn't think I was going to like it this much. The building is about 50% sold. Some of the units that we toured weren't even completed yet. Like the kitchens weren't in. It was just totally bare bones, if you will. But the views from those balconies, if you guys can remember sort of what we saw last night as we were walking across the Brooklyn Bridge, there were full floor units and your balcony is overlooking the Brooklyn Bridge, the Manhattan Bridge, and all of Midtown Manhattan and Lower Manhattan. The view in person is almost indescribable. It's crazy. And I think the reason why the view is so unique is because the sales agent was explaining to us, and he did an amazing job. So thank you so much to the Gomez team at Douglas Elliman. That is the last buildable, or I should say developed lot in Dumbo that's able to be developed into a new development. It literally sits directly a stone's throw away from the Brooklyn Bridge. And the way it's designed sort of curves to the bridge. So it's almost like you're standing over the Brooklyn Bridge. It's like you're living a little bit elevated above. I don't know how to explain it. It's a crazy experience. They obviously soundproofed the entire thing because the street noise is, you have the major on-ramp to the Brooklyn Bridge. But wow, once you open that door, it's like the city explodes. It's like you just feel like you're hovering over Midtown Manhattan. It's crazy. So if you ever get a chance to go there in person or view it, you will not be disappointed. I promise you that. Here's the Metro Mover station. The moon looks beautiful. This is 15 Biscayne. This is another beautiful, luxurious apartment building here in downtown Miami. Yeah, Steph UH says, I was wondering about the noise. It is the experience from opening up the sliding glass door, if you will. I think they're actually German doors. It's like the city erupts. But once you close it, it's like you're in a studio. It's like radio silence. It's really, really cool. Hey, Jim, what's up? Says greetings from Tampa Bay. Jim, I got an update for you. I just found out today, well, maybe, it's not a done deal yet, but I may be assigned to a project in Sarasota, Florida, which I think is just south of Tampa, is it not? Now, I'm very familiar with the east coast of Florida, particularly South Florida, but supposedly Sarasota is an up-and-coming area, if you will, because as Miami gets more expensive, as Fort Lauderdale gets more expensive, and even as Palm Beach gets more expensive, people are sort of migrating west to Tampa and the outer outskirts of Tampa, if you will, which I think Sarasota comes into play there. Let's actually cross. This is actually next to our old office at the 200 Southeast Financial Center. Hey, somebody says hello from Chicago. Beautiful Miami, good to see you. Here we have the Metro Mover coming by. Now, we don't have subways here in Miami, Our trains are elevated for obvious reasons. But this building right here is the 200 Southeast Financial Center. And we used to stream live from the 20th floor of this building until our good friend Ken Griffin from Citadel Securities bought out the entire 20th floor and kicked everybody out. So Citadel Securities, speaking of Chicago, Citadel is one of the most profitable and notable hedge funds and market makers on Wall Street. They've since moved their main headquarters, their main location, from Chicago to Miami. And we actually have some breaking news from The Real Deal. Ken Griffin purchased about $80 million worth of commercial space in Palm Beach to expand his operations to South Florida. Pretty interesting stuff. Hey, Allison Williams says, hello Tom, good night from Nassau, Bahamas. That's actually not too far away from here. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you being here. Hemp Lords is surprised that there's a show tonight. Yeah, it's going to be a really quick stream, guys. I just wanted to pop on and say hi because I was so surprised that the flight actually was on time. Gary Carpenter, what's up? Marcus says you love the Art Deco in Miami. It is really beautiful. You're going to see more of the Art Deco architecture in South Beach. Not so much here. I think South Beach has the highest concentration of Art Deco buildings anywhere in the United States. Now, this is right off Biscayne Boulevard. It's not open to the public just yet, but they're redoing this whole street. So what they're doing is they're trying to make the city more walkable, which I think is most appropriate. So you'll notice that they leveled the sidewalks with the street. It's almost done. It's not done yet. That's why there's not many people here or many cars, because it's not open, but I think they did a good job. And supposedly this is going to go all the way down Flagler Street. We'll see. Hey, Smee Media, what's up? Says, hope you had a good flight. It was great. I was pleasantly surprised, let's just say that. Very, very pleasantly surprised. Now, we talked about earnings season, right? Some of the major financials, some of the major banks reported earnings. But also, we had some airlines report earnings, particularly American Airlines, which is the airline that I flew. And let me tell you, it was crazy packed. I was on a massive plane. Every seat was filled. JFK was absolutely packed. And so was Miami International Airport. Extremely, extremely busy tonight. Now, in the distance over here, you can see the Miami Tower. If we make a left here, this will take you all the way down to Brickell. And you could just see the top of the Aston Martin building right here. But we're gonna make one full lap. I wanna see if this food hall is still open here. Hey, Mike Choi is here. What's up, Mike? Good to see you. Yeah, Jafet Perez says no cars in sight. So this is closed. This is not yet open. It should be soon. The city is doing a massive revamp of all of the streets here. So what they're doing is they're taking the sidewalks, essentially ripping them out and making them in line with the street level, if you've noticed. So they built all the way up to about East 2nd Avenue, but it's going to take some time before all of this is complete, if you will. And then it'll be open to traffic. But this, I think, is one of the newest attractions to Miami. This is a very big food hall. It's like a big food court here. Every time we come here, there's a big line that stretches all the way around the block. I don't think we'll see that many lines tonight, but it does seem very lively. It seems like there's still a lot of people here. Man, it actually looks really good. Let's see if we can go in there. We'll see. Yeah, I think we can get in because there's no line now, thank God. When this place first opened, there was a line all the way down the block. So we'll see, we'll peek our head in there. We won't be too intrusive, but we'll peek our head in. Let's see what we got. Wow. Let's see if the internet holds up. Yeah, I've never been in here yet. I think the ceiling opens up, the walkway up there. Wow, it's pretty big. Hey, Carol, what's up? Carol H, we were just talking about you. We just passed the Elser. All right, we'll head out. Hey, Western Mass Dave, what's up? All right, let's head out. That place is cool. I may have to get something to eat there. That was the first time I've been in it. Highly suggested if you come to Miami. What'd you guys think? I think they did a pretty good job. Now, I've said, if Miami wants to have real staying power, right? Like in New York. You guys have seen New York a trillion times on these walks. I think they need to make the city a little bit more walkable. And that's what Miami is trying to do, right? You notice this is how it used to look, all these elevated sidewalks. Now everything is one, you know, flat plane, if you will, with a lot of things to do that are in walking distance. So I think it was cool. Hey, Justin S., what's up? So Carol H., what was your experience with the Elser? I know that's just open now. The amenities there are insane. The views from the building are even better, unmatched, overlooking the bay, which is fantastic. I wouldn't mind looking into getting a place there. Hey, NAV 047, this reminds me of Texas. It reminded me of, I'm trying to think. Maybe a little bit, maybe a little like Austin, potentially. Hey, Alex is here. Good to see you, Alex. Thanks so much. Hey, Timothy Gray, this is Tom. How much of the high-end real estate development over the past 40 years have been funded by the drug trade? I don't know that. I don't know how much money has been funded by the drug trade. That is not my area of expertise, unfortunately. But I would assume some. Just like in any industry, right? Like if I had to throw a dart, I don't know. Construction's a very shaky business in big cities like New York, Miami. I'll just say that. Oh, cool. Carol H says it's been a great experience. Awesome. I'm glad you had a good time. Now, I've noticed in downtown Miami, there's a lot of these nice sort of cafes that have been opening up. But it's a little bit different than New York because everything in downtown Miami closes a little bit earlier, right? The parts that are most like Manhattan is where we're about to go, and that is Brickell. But first, I actually want to cross the street here because I want to check on the Aston Martin building, which is an amazing new development, which I think is open. Well, I shouldn't say open. It's about 99% sold out, and there's nobody living in it yet. So we'll check on the progress of that. I also think, I'm blanking on the name, the famous chef, Gordon Ramsay, just opened his restaurant right across the street. We'll check that out. Hey, Joan K, it's good you're safely back in Miami. Thank you, Joan. Yeah, I'm happy to be back. I think I'm gonna take tomorrow just to do some chores around the house. My tenants are moving out, so that means I have to prep the house and get ready for the new tenants to move in. But look at this. This is an iconic view as we're standing on the corner of Southeast 3rd Avenue. This is the Miami Tower, very colorful. Sort of gives off the vibe of Magic City. Hey, Too Lazy to Cook says hello. What do you think about the up-and-coming fingerprint pay at Whole Foods? So I've seen that. I think in some of the Whole Foods in New York City, I've seen that. The biometric scans. I don't know. I think that's a good question. Who here in the chat would feel comfortable uploading all their biometrics to Amazon so that they could easily check out at the counter? I don't know. I think I'm more of an Apple Pay type person, but then again, you sort of pay with your biometrics with Apple Pay too, right? You double tap the lock screen and your face sort of allows you to pay. I don't know. I think as we go on, right, as we progress in society, I think we're going to go to a pretty much all digital, in my opinion. Oh, no way. Wow. Carol H says I live right by the Elster now at the Aaliyah. Whoa. Very cool. Well, congratulations on your new place. That's awesome. That's a really, really nice building. I think you're going to be really happy there. We'll wait to cross. Sometimes these Miami drivers are worse than New Yorkers, if that's even possible. But it is true. Yeah, Jackass says, Tom, have you talked about the NASDAQ 100 rebalance that's taking place before Monday? Yeah, so I think one of the things that they're trying to do is not make it so top heavy, if you will. Now, this has been a major ongoing conversation, but if you think about it, the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, they're both market capitalization weighted indices, right? So that means the particular stocks or the particular companies that have the largest market caps will have a significantly higher weighting in the index. Now, if you want to see a visual of this, I'll give you guys a really good free resource, okay? If you go to slickcharts.com, this is the Whole Foods here, but go to slickcharts.com, S-L-I-C-K charts.com. It'll actually give you an up-to-date, essentially real life, real time weighting breakdown of the S&P. And as of now, Apple makes up over 7% of the index alone. So think about that for a second as we cross by the Whole Foods. This is a really nice dog that's crossing by us. I think it's a poodle. Think about that. One company, Apple, makes up about 7% of the entire index. And this is why I say it's very important to pay attention to the big sort of mega caps. Because 30%, right? 30% of the entire index is in 10 stocks. So if Apple has a bad day and it's down 2%, if Microsoft has a bad day and it's down 2%, that's going to drag down the indices. That's going to drag down the S&P. That's going to drag down the NASDAQ. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see if, you know, what the shakeup has of it. But I think it's very important to pay attention to. This is a nice Tesla. I see Brick Stonewall. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Western Mass Dave. Always a pleasure to see you, Dave. Bella says, hey, Tom, my name is Debbie. Yeah, very cool. First time in the chat. What do you think about JEPI for retirement income? Well, I can't talk specifically to, you know, recommending you to purchase or buy or sell specific stocks. The only thing that I could say as it relates to retirement is oftentimes it's best just to own the index, for example. And this is the Aston Martin building. We'll give you guys a more inclusive walkthrough as we sort of walk down here. But a lot of times investors have this eye candy around big dividend paying ETFs or even individual companies and stocks. And I think that's a little bit dangerous, and we'll give some examples of as to why. Oh, look at this. This is the Hell's Kitchen Gordon Ramsay. Wow. It's not open yet. It's opening soon. But look at that. Hey, Felipe says greetings from Brazil. Let's see when this is opening. It says opening fall of 2023. But for example, take a look at AT&T, right? AT&T was one of the, and pretty much still is, one of the most famous dividend aristocrats out there. But the problem is, these, in my view, are dividend traps. Just because a stock or a company has a very high dividend yield doesn't mean you should buy it. A lot of times it means quite the contrary, right? So I wouldn't use your only criteria for investment if something has a very, very strong dividend yield. Oftentimes it's better just to own the index, a very low cost index fund. Wow, this is a really cool shot of the Aston Martin building. Very cool. Now, I will recommend a book because there's a really, really good book out there that does a real deep dive into management fees on Wall Street. So the book is called The Little Book of Common Sense Investing. Hey, what's up? Have a good night. So the book is called The Little Book of Common Sense Investing. It's by Jack Bogle, or John Bogle. And he was, unfortunately he passed away, he was the founder of the Vanguard Group. And they did a study that says if you can reduce your management fees as much as possible, it really doesn't matter what individual names you own. Over the long term, you'll outperform the majority of the actively managed mutual funds that have crazy fees. Because if you think about compounding interest, back in the day, right, if we want to throw it all the way back, this is Brickell Key, by the way. It's gorgeous over there. We are now right at the water. But if you think about way back in the day, in the 80s and even in the 90s, if you were to buy a mutual fund, right, an actively managed mutual fund, on the buy, right, so once you purchase this mutual fund, they would hammer you with a load fee, a front-end load fee of 5%, which is egregious. Then every single year you would have a per annum management fee or expense ratio of about 2%. And then, God forbid you want to sell the thing, they're going to bang you with another 5% on the back end, called a back end load fee. So those fees add up and compound over time. If you just go to a compound interest calculator and you put $100,000 in at 2% over 50 years, well, that's a lot of fee income, right? So the thought process there is you want to, for retirement anyway, and this is what the book says, for retirement you want to sort of own the entire broader stock market at almost zero cost. So for example, I'll give you, this isn't a recommendation to buy anything, but if you look at like a VOO, a ticker symbol VOO, right, which is an ETF product that just tracks the S&P 500, I think the expense ratio is like 0.05 or maybe 0.2%. It's almost negligible. And over time, it outperforms a lot of these actively managed, growth stock mutual funds that are going to charge you 2% a year. So I don't know, I would really focus on just reducing your fees as much as possible. So maybe get with a financial advisor and have them audit your 401k or your IRA, because you'd be surprised. You may be paying some egregious fees that you don't need to be paying for. Marx's index funds are zero cost, is that correct? Well, some are now. I think Fidelity, or Fido, came out with a zero cost S&P 500 ETF product, which is wild. So you could thank Jack Bogle for that one. He really kicked off, the race to zero on Wall Street as it relates to management fees. But guys, check out how unique this new development is. What we're looking at now is the Aston Martin building, or the Aston Martin Tower, the residences in downtown Miami. Gorgeous, gorgeous building overlooking the water. And depending on how high up you are in the building, you could see all the way to South Beach. Now, this is the view at night. You can't really see too much, but it's unbelievable during the day. Now, if we turn the camera to the right, these buildings in the distance is called Brickell Key, which is a really, really gorgeous sort of private island right off of Brickell. Now, it's a little bit secluded. There's only one way to get on and off the island, if you will. And that is a little bridge which we may walk over tonight. We'll see. Love is kind. Is it true that almost all of the units are sold? Yeah, you're 100% right on that. It's about 98% sold, which is unbelievable for a new development that nobody lives in yet, right? So all of the units, well, I think the majority of the units are not even fully built yet. Yeah, about 98% sold out. So it's a really, really successful project. Right across the waterway here is the W Hotel and Tower. I was actually looking at purchasing a unit in the W. A couple of years ago, I decided not to. I actually decided to purchase sort of like a two-family, single-family conversion into a two-family. But that building was very, let's just say, very appetizing. An amazing, amazing building with crazy amenities. I got to point one thing out, and then we'll continue on our walk across to Brickell. I want you guys to focus right here. This is going to be a private, exclusive dock for yachts, exclusive to residences at the Aston Martin Tower. So if you don't want to drive, if you have a place in the Bahamas and you just want to jump on your boat and commute to your home here in Miami, you can just pull right up, park, take the elevator all the way up to your apartment, and you never have to touch foot on land. You can commute to your beautiful, luxurious apartment in downtown Miami 100% by yacht, which is wild to think about, but it's true. Yeah, and sometimes during the day in the summer, you can see dolphins jumping in and out of the water, as well as sea turtles. So this is an awesome place. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Hey, Bob is here, what's up? Charles D, just have you walk by the SLS Lux, Brickell Key, very nice. So I think there's a couple SLS Lux towers, is that right? I think the main ones that are most iconic are right across the street from the Brickell City Centre, is that right? At least I think. But I also think there's ones further down by the financial district stop from the Metro Mover. Now that we have a little bit more light, you can see the individual balconies on the Aston Martin building. I couldn't imagine being on a high floor over there. But as you compare, New York City to Miami, I think one of the major comparisons is the following. Now, in New York, every time we do our streams there, the majority of times we start off on New York City's Billionaires Row. You have 220 Central Park South, you have Central Park Tower, you have 157, and so on and so on. You're starting to see the same trend happen right here in Miami. For example, this is the Aston Martin residences, but if you go further up north, you'll have the Bentley Design Tower, and then you'll also have the Porsche Design Tower. So you could take your pick of vehicle branded buildings. You can get an Aston Martin with the purchase of a unit, you can get a Bentley with the purchase of a unit, or you can get a Porsche, you guessed it, with the purchase of your unit. It's crazy. It's sort of like the Billionaires Row of the South, if you will. If you've ever heard of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida. Amazing developments going on there. Hey, Brendan O'Brien says, do you have easy walking access to all convenience and amenities in Brickell? From Brickell Key, to be honest, not really, in my view. Brickell Key it's an island of itself, and there's one bridge going in and out. Now, if you have a scooter or something like that, a car, it's pretty easy. You can walk it. We've walked it before on the live stream. But I'll give you guys a recommendation. But first, I want to give you a little bit of a look over the fence here. I can't see, but maybe you guys can see what's going on there. It's still under construction, but looks nice. But I'll give you guys a tip, okay? Because I do get emails of people saying I'm interested in moving to Miami, or I want to get a place here. If you do that, you got to go out and buy yourself a Vespa or like a little scooter. And it's very cheap. It's like 1,500 bucks, and you'll have something to get around and you won't have to wait in all of the traffic. So that's my recommendation. If you're going to move here, if you're single, or maybe you just have, you don't have any kids, in my view, the best way and the most convenient way to get around is a scooter or a Vespa. We'll take a quick pit stop here. This is the Epic Hotel and Residences. It's really nice. Hey, just the guys, this is the Baccarat. Development looks nice as well. Lupe says, would you buy a Vespa in NYC? I don't know, probably not. I just don't think New York is built for it, especially in the winter time. I think that would be really a hassle, driving those things around and parking it. I don't know, I'm a big walker in New York. I don't think I would ever get a car either in the city. It's just too much of a pain. And I think a lot of people, maybe if you're watching the stream and you're from New York and you have a car trying to drive around Manhattan, it's not the most fun, we'll just say that. You get tickets, the car gets dinged and danged. If you want to park your car in a garage, listen to how crazy this is, okay? I'm actually working on a project with a real estate developer, and what he's doing is he's selling parking spaces. And do you know what one of the cheapest parking spaces just in a regular garage goes for in New York? The cheapest one. Okay, we'll have a guess. Who here can guess, if you want to buy an exclusive parking space in a garage in New York City, let's just say on the Upper East Side, how much would you think that would cost to purchase? And not including the monthly fees. Hey, Abdul is here. What's up? Always a pleasure to have you here. Welcome. Lupe is 5 grand. Hemplords is 18,500. 18,000. No, SME Media, not per month. This is to purchase your own parking garage or parking space. Licks 59 is 114K. DAs is 10K. Yo, we got shot by Scott here, dude. What's up, man? Scott, I'm gonna be in your neck of the woods tomorrow, man. Christy F says 15K. SME Media says for purchase 25,000. Alfonso says 25,000. Okay, those are all good guesses, and I'll tell you the answer now. I won't have you guys wait any longer. But first, this is what I'm most excited about. So this is the Riverwalk that'll connect all the way around the island. They're completely redoing it, and it's going to go all the way around the Aston Martin building. Isn't that cool? So this will be your yacht drop-off, and the Riverwalk will extend all the way over. But to get to the question, if you want to buy a basic parking space in a parking garage in Manhattan on the Upper West Side, it's going to cost you about $200,000. $200,000. And that is like a cheap, parking space. Then you have to pay the monthly maintenance on that spot, which is another $300 to $400 per month. Now, let's say if you didn't want to buy one, right? You didn't want to buy a space, you just want to rent the space every single month and park your car. Depending on the size of the vehicle, it's going to run you anywhere between $300 a month for just a very basic sedan. Think a 1995 beat-up Toyota Corolla. But if you have a massive Cadillac Escalade or something like that, it could cost you over $600 a month just to park your vehicle. Now, if you have an EV, then you need a charging station. Then that's more money. So things are pretty expensive. I'll do you one better, but real quick, I just want to showcase. These are some of the yachts that are always parked here outside of the Aston Martin building and the W Hotel and Tower, which are beautiful. One of my favorite things is looking at these palm trees. These are the royal palms. They're my favorite. Yeah, Brendan O'Brien says then you have to get car insurance. That's another thing. Now these mini geckos are all over Miami. These aren't iguanas, these are like mini geckos, but they're everywhere. They're all over my house. So as you guys know, let's see if we could see any fish swimming around. Sometimes the boats, the lights on the boats will attract fish. Sometimes sea turtles, maybe dolphins we'll even see. So I told you guys that I was very lucky to preview Olympia Dumbo, which is one of the most exclusive new developments, luxury condominiums in Dumbo, Brooklyn. Now, the 2 penthouses at the top go for over 16 million, but I actually think that they're worth it, and I think they'll appreciate significantly in value. They're like masterworks of art. If you want to see some videos or photos of that, if you click the link in the description, it'll take you to my IG page, and I've posted some of the floor plans and some videos. But the point I'm trying to make is, we got a fish right here. The point I'm trying to make is Olympia Dumbo set aside 2 private parking garages for the option of purchase with the 2 top penthouses. Does anybody want to take a guess how much those private parking garages are if you so choose to purchase the top penthouse at Olympia Dumbo? To give you some context, one of the top penthouses is already under contract, and the owner or the purchaser decided to purchase the parking garage. So take a guess at that. It is pretty surprising how much it costs, but I understand why, because it is the most pristine real estate in Manhattan. DM says 500,000, Adrian says 500K, Charles D says $1 million. Charles, you hit the nail right on the head, my friend. Maybe it was you who purchased the penthouse, you never know. If you want to buy a parking space and your own personal parking garage at Olympia Dumbo, it's going to be about $1 million. But if you think about it, as you move up in the price points in real estate and as you service the ultra luxury market, the clientele that has the money to spend $17 million on an apartment, they're looking for exclusivity, they're looking for privacy, they're looking for service. And from touring that property, that is exactly what you get. 100% that is exactly what you get. You get exclusivity, you get security, you get privacy, and you get ultra luxury, all packaged in one in Dumbo, Brooklyn. It's unreal, the development. It's fantastic. But yeah, to give you an idea, the private garage is $1 million in addition to your private penthouse. Yeah, Charles D says many of them fly private as well. You know, that's why at 1000 Museum, they put the helipad on the roof, which is kind of crazy. Now, if you want to know a little bit of Miami history, I'm going to point you to this development site right across the water. Now, I'm assuming Zozo Bob is in the chat. He could help us out with this. But there's supposed to be an ultra luxurious condominium project built right in this plot of land. Now, the problem is when they started digging to build the foundation, they found so many artifacts from an ancient civilization, so old that this civilization predates the pyramids and the Egyptians. These are one of the first ancient civilizations ever known to mankind that settled right along the shoreline thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. And there's so many amazing artifacts. So the city is actually sort of battling the developers, and they're going back and forth to try to preserve as much of this beautiful artifacts as possible. Now, if you just go to YouTube, maybe pull up another page. Ah, you're right, the Tequesta Indians settled there thousands of years ago. You're correct, right here. You gotta watch the sort of like mini documentary series on it. It was produced by a local news channel here. They give a really good explanation, or I should say explanation, of the native people who settled here thousands of years ago. And I think we should do everything we can to preserve that site. Now, I understand the developers want to go and build this crazy building, But I think for the sake of history and for the sake of education, right, to preserve this native tribe, I think we should do everything we can possible to collect as much of the artifacts as we can, to salvage them, to study them. That's just my view, but that is a major point of conflict here. Hey, Brian71, what's up? Good to see you. All right, let's walk over the bridge. And this will take us to Brickell. Hey, OT says, what's up, Tom? Good to see you, OT. Thanks for joining us. It's really peaceful to watch all the boats go by. Hey, Brian71 says, hey Tom, hope you're well, enjoy our humidity. Well, you know what's crazy? It actually feels much cooler in Miami than it felt in New York City. I don't know what's going on with New York City this year, but let me tell you, I think it may be the air quality, but the air quality on top of the humidity is like really, really horrible in New York. This past 2 weeks, in Manhattan specifically, some of the most heavy humidity I've ever experienced. It actually feels really nice in Miami now. It feels really, really nice. Maybe that's because there's no wildfire smoke and we're right on the water. Manhattan tends to heat up, right? It's all concrete, it's all asphalt. There's really no release for the city to breathe. All right, let's head up. And we will start our walk over to Brickell. Yeah, Western Mass Dave says that's right. No smoke in the air, must feel refreshing. It really does. I think after this I'm going to take the scooter to the beach and just sort of hang out for a little bit. There's always really nice vehicles here. What is this? I'm trying to read the Lamborghini. I think those cars are too loud, in my view. I'd rather prefer a Tesla. Somebody says the mosquitoes are dangerous in Florida. You know, last year they're actually pretty bad around my house. If you were to walk outside by my house last year and you didn't have like a barbecue going or something, you would get swarmed by mosquitoes after like 7 o'clock. But as long as you turned on the charcoal grill, you're good. But this year, not so bad. I haven't really noticed too horrible, not too bad. Now this is the JW Marriott Marquis. I know, shot by Scott, I saw that too. There's supposed to be flying cars by 2025. I think there's some company, some startup I saw on CNBC is trying to do flying cars here in Miami. Did you see that? Maybe that's what you're referring to. Hey, Nigel Gill, what's up? Ed Podcast says, I'm not sure I could deal with the lizards and the crocodiles. You know, I think that's the biggest misconception about Miami. I have never seen a crocodile ever since I've been here. The crocodiles are in the Everglades, which is like a good 2 hours away from here. This is the Miami Tower. I've never seen a crocodile, not one. The lizards aren't too bad. They're a little bit of a nuisance, but you know, you could deal with them. I'd rather have the lizards than deal with roaches, and there's a ton of roaches in New York. For some reason, I'd rather deal with lizards than, you know, roaches. All right, so this is the bridge that is going to take us from downtown Miami to Brickell. And then we'll walk down, I just wanted to show you guys this, Avenue of the Americas. Not to be confused with 6th Avenue in New York, but we're headed towards the financial district. So you can see Bank of America Tower down there. This is sort of like a mini Manhattan, as they call it. So as we walk over the bridge, you're going to notice a lot more foot traffic picking up as we transition from downtown Miami to Brickell. And just for some perspective, this is where we were, walking that path right down here and around. Really peaceful out tonight. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video. And click the subscribe button if you're new. We do these live streams starting at 8:30 p.m. exploring New York City and Miami. Now, as we get about halfway over the bridge, you're going to be able to see a really good view of the Aston Martin Tower, which is right in the back. I'm surprised the drawbridge didn't go up right as we walked over. Usually every single time that we go to walk over, the drawbridge goes up. All right, this is some better perspective. This is the Aston Martin residences, what it looks like from the other side of the river. And you have your big pool deck on the roof, which is insane. And it looks like the lights are starting to come on. past Bank of America Tower, who actually just reported earnings last week. We talked about that a little bit. Better than expected earnings. We're seeing a little bit of deal flow on the street pick up after 2022 was one of the worst years on record for initial public offerings due to the Federal Reserve raising interest rates, removing a lot of the liquidity from the environment. Wow, Aston Martin Tower is 818 feet high. How tall is the brand new, I should say, Waldorf Astoria going to be? I think that's going to be over 1,000 feet tall, is it not? Here's the icon Brickell, which is beautiful. Love is kind says, do you find Miami to be noisier than New York? I don't. You know, this is actually very, very quiet for Miami for a couple reasons. Number one reason, it's August, right? It's the middle of the summer. So a lot of the snowbirds have gone, right? They've left. A lot of people only live in South Florida and Miami for about half the year. They spend the winters here. And then they go back up north. When it's hot. Right? So August is usually pretty empty in Miami. I think over the last 2 years it's been filling up just because so many people have been moving here. But this is sort of the off season, if you will, for Miami. Now, after the holidays, especially after Hanukkah, after Christmas and New Year's, this place really comes alive and lights up from a lot of the snowbirds coming down here. Yeah, I'm shortchanging us by about 10 days. You know, next week is already going to be August. Well, last week of July. Kind of crazy to think about, but I think you guys get the point, though. July, August aren't the best times to visit Miami. I guess it depends on who you ask. If you like it more quiet, more relaxed, no crowds, definitely visit Miami in the summer, for sure. If you like, you know, a little bit more liveliness, check it out in January and February and even March. Now, as we walk down deeper into Brickell, this is where Ken Griffin is going to build his massive tower, down here and to the left. But for now, he has Citadel set up in the 200 Southeast Financial Center, where I think Goldman Sachs has a satellite office there. And Truist, I think, is right here to the right. This place always has a lot of nice cars outside. But this is what they call the mini Manhattan. Right over here in Brickell and Brickell City Centre. That's actually where we're going to walk to right now. Yeah, somebody says, is there any art district? I think that's called Wynwood. So Wynwood is a little bit further north. I always compare Wynwood to Brooklyn. Brooklyn's very hipstery, very interesting, like a Greenpoint, Brooklyn, similar to Wynwood. Now, if you turn left here, which we're not, this is the one bridge that'll take you in and out of Brickell City Centre. So if you remember about 15 minutes ago on the live stream, we were looking across the water to that island. This is the island. It's this one bridge that goes over. You have amazing views from there, though. I don't think we're going to have time to go there tonight, but maybe another day. Yeah, Robert says we don't walk much in Wynwood. I don't think we've ever done a walk in Wynwood. The thing is, the internet is not good there. You're very lucky if you get a connection over there. This intersection is a little wonky because you have 5 different directions turning at once. Hey, Carol H. says Wynwood Walls is the art district. And you also have the Pretz Art Museum in downtown. Yeah, I think there's a really good coffee shop in Wynwood too. Panther Coffee. That's a really, really good spot. It's a little expensive, but it's good. Lady Cerritos is the last time I was in Miami, I didn't get to see Brickell like I wanted to. Well, we're about to head right into the main part of it now. You can see a little bit of the Brickell City Centre there. All right, here we go. This is sort of looking up towards the Wells Fargo Center and the W. Wow, ton of traffic. Now this is going to be the brand new One Brickell City Centre development. This thing is going to be absolutely massive. I'll give you a quick peek over the top here. It doesn't look like much, but they're going to break ground very soon. And this thing is going to be absolutely insane. This is going to be one of the tallest high-rises in Brickell. It seems like there's so much development going on. Yeah, Zozo Bob's is 1,000 foot tall office tower. Crazy. Now Zozo Bob, hopefully it doesn't rain tomorrow because I got to do a ton of yard work. I'll be here for 2 days. I wish I could spend more time here, but I've been put on a really big project in New York, which is demanding a lot of attention and time. So we'll be back on Monday afternoon, unfortunately. Now this is the back side of the Brickell City Centre. You're going to see the Apple Store, and I think there's also a Lucid Motors showroom. This is the Metro Mover station to your right. And then as we get to the corner, you're going to see the SLS Lux Tower. Which is actually right to your left. This is the SLS Lux. Always a lot of traffic here, so you'll notice more car traffic. There's going to be more pedestrian traffic here, because this is technically considered our mini Manhattan, if you will. This is one of the SLS Lux Towers. This is the back entrance to the shops at Brickell City Centre. And I think this is some sort of nightclub here. I think it's called East, maybe? I think it's some major, maybe a hotel slash nightclub. Now, you know what I also heard? This Burger King on the corner has been there forever. But I think a developer or real estate company just bought the Burger King out, and I think they're going to make this some sort of massive ultra luxury tower as well. Did you hear about that, Zozo Bob? I think this place looks new. This is the KPMG Tower at Brickell City Centre. You have the Lucid Motors across the street. And then the two major SLS Lux Towers. Wow, Zozo Bob's Tom, the Burger King will be called 18 and will be a 78-story tower. That's insane. Wow. Now, there's more stuff here. It's like a strip mall. We'll check it out. I mean, this area is priced at a premium, I would say. It's priced at a very hefty premium, but a lot of people want to live down here. I think this just opened, the Henry. Maybe we could see a little bit as we go across and around. This is the main entrance to the Brickell City Centre. Yeah, this is a very unique sort of indoor-outdoor mall. Oh, people are watching the Inter Miami game. Okay. Is Messi playing tonight? Okay, so this is the second floor. This is where we were standing, right down there. And then you have awesome views of the SLS Lux Towers in the distance. So maybe we'll actually go up one more floor. Hey, Pieces, what do you do for work? Well, I spent a decade in tech and telecom sales, so selling software and telecom to enterprise customers, so like Fortune 500, Fortune 50. I did, Dan, and they're very nice people. But now I've accepted a new venture. It was sort of too good to pass up, which I'll tell you guys about in a bit. Oh, look at that. That's a really cool shot. This is Brickell right across the side. What about you? But Dan Zhang, I gotta tell you, there's a reason why the Frederick Gomez team is one of the top sales teams in the United States. There's a reason. Those guys and girls are so sharp and so professional, it's unreal. I mean, I can't speak highly enough of my experience at Olympia Dumbo today in New York. It was unbelievable. I was blown away. And I'm surprised the building's only 50% sold out. Let me tell you that. But most of the units, or I'd say many of the units, are still the bare bones. It's just, you know, a bare concrete shell. So I think once all of them are finished and staged and ready to go, I think that's going to attract a ton of buyers. But yeah, there's a reason why. I think it's just the Pareto principle, right? 80-20 rule and everything. I think they do it like nobody else. Also, Steve Gold. I'm not sure if you guys know Steve Gold. Just an unbelievable guy. Super nice. He has one of the most successful sales teams at Corcoran. Just a really nice guy. The Kirsten Jordan team, she has one of the top teams at Douglas Elliman in Manhattan. I think they're going to expand their sales operations to Miami. But I think they're looking for the right person to help them do that. I think right now, the last I heard. So maybe they'll hire like a really sharp sales guy or girl that'll help them on new development and expanding their sales operations to Miami. But check this out as we go over here. The view overlooking Brickell is crazy here. Now, when I bought my place about, I think it's almost been 3 years ago now. I can't believe that. Oh, look at that. You could see the Paramount building all the way in the back. Wow. One of the things that sold me on Miami the most, it was the first time I ever came to Miami from New York. I honestly could not believe how clean it was. Like, I didn't even know that was possible. Coming from New York, you know, working and commuting into Manhattan every day, I just couldn't understand how they kept Miami so clean. Especially Brickell, downtown Miami. That was one of the biggest selling points for me. Especially the further north you go, right? The Sunny Isles Beach, which is closer to where I live. It's really nice. I don't know, what do you guys think? Thumbs up or thumbs down on Brickell? I know for many of you, this is your first time being here on the stream. You know, Miami's not for everybody, but hopefully it made a good first impression on you. Yeah, Dan, I think you're right. I think the show $1 Million Listing New York was canceled. And I think the reason why it got canceled is because it was very difficult to do the show during the virus, right, during COVID, especially in a city like New York, right? We won't get into the politics of it all, but it was almost impossible to do the show during that time. So they canceled it, but I have, well, I don't know, I don't think I could say it. Maybe later. Love the palm trees here. For some reason, every time I just look at palm trees, it sort of helps me relax. I don't know why. Harry Connor says, when is hurricane season? I think it's right now, actually. Isn't hurricane season starting right now and goes all the way to September? Okay, let's head downstairs and we'll try to walk you all the way to the end of the block. Until November, got it. Wow. Someone says, Tom, the water's off in Miami is 91 degrees. Hopefully it doesn't rain tomorrow so I'll be able to go to the beach. But I don't think so. I got a lot of work to do. I have tenants moving out and I have new tenants moving in almost immediately. Look at the dog. I love that dog. That dog is adorable. All right, let's make a right and we'll go all the way down. But the restaurant seems packed. Looks like every single table on the inside is booked, which is good news. You know, Miami especially, and the state of Florida, is very heavily reliant on tourism and hospitality for its economy. So as we've been talking about consumer spending and consumer sentiment, things look good. I mean, on face value. Hey, Eric says, Tom, did you ever get a new skateboard after you lost the one to move to Miami? I have tons of skateboards. I mean, I've been skateboarding for a long time. I don't have any new ones, though. I've sort of been on a hiatus skating because, you know, once things started to open up after COVID, it's kind of dangerous to skate in the street now. So I think the risk-reward ratio, it's like skewed a little bit.
What is the oldest bar?
That group of people were talking about the oldest bar. I think the oldest bar is, if you walk all the way to the end of the block the other way where we were, I think that's one of the oldest bars ever in the United States. All right, let's just work our way through the crowd. There's really nice sort of driveway as you pull into the residences here at the SLS. Now, usually during the winter, this place is super packed. Now, I mean, there's a lot of people dining outside and eating, but it's actually usually a little bit more packed. Now, this is Moxie's. I've never been here, but supposedly this is like a big iconic place to go to when you're in Brickell. This building over here is the Panorama Tower. which I think is the tallest residential apartment building right now in Miami, or at least I think in Brickell. I don't use a property manager. I self-manage right now. Assuming, I mean, please God, the portfolio grows over time, I'll probably have to hire some sort of property manager. But I think when you're just starting out, you only have 1 or 2 deals under your belt, it's good to do it yourself so you can learn things. And I think that's important. You know, you'll learn how to deal with tenants. You'll learn how to, you know, fix a leaky faucet. You'll learn how to unclog a toilet. And I think that's good to do that stuff yourself, like kind of trial by fire, if you will. I think it's important, at least in my view. I could be wrong, but that's what I've done. So this is Mary Brickell Village. I think they're going to take all of this down. So everything you see here that's sort of like low rise, this is all going to be demolished. And there's going to be more of these super tall buildings, very similar to New York. All right, we'll walk to the end of the block. I think that's Dan Sang's favorite car over there. But if you guys have enjoyed the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. You know, maybe we'll be live from Coral Gables. We'll see. If we're not live from Coral Gables, we'll be live from South Beach. So I appreciate you guys coming out. I wish you a very safe weekend. Take some time to relax and recharge, because there's going to be a very busy week coming up next week on Wall Street. So take it easy, everybody. Thank you for coming out, and we will see you later. So Steph UH, take care. Austin City Limits, Joseph Hardaway, appreciate it very much. Robert, all of our moderators, and remember, there's always a bull market somewhere. You just need to know where to look. See you guys right back here tomorrow.